ISO IEC 20000, FSCJ ISM 3014. The date is November 27, 2012. We are Group 4. Our members are Daniel, Roger, Adrian, Kenneth, and I'm your presenter, Charles. What is IT Service Management? What is the IT Service Management ITSM? ITSM is a discipline for managing IT services that focuses on the quality of those services and the relationship that the IT organization has with its customers. What is ISO IEC 20000? ISO IEC 20000 is the first international standard for IT service management, provides the requirements for an IT service management system, delivers effective and efficient managed services that meet the business and customer requirements, identifies and manages the key processes involved in providing quality IT services, provides a recognized certification that is recognized worldwide. ITIL provides guidance on what should be done in order to offer the clients of an IT organization adequate IT services to provide support for their business needs. ITIL qualifications are available for individuals, but until recently there was no way for an IT organization to provide that it is working along with the ITIL recommendations. The ISO 20000 standard was conceived to fill this gap, initiated by two groups, ITSMF and BSI, which stands for the British Standards Institution. It is modeled upon the principles of ITIL and for the first time offers IT organizations the possibility to become certified. History of ISO IEC 20000. ISO ISE 20000 first started out with the ITSM standard, which was called the BS 15000. In 2002, the second part of the standard was added, which was BS 15000-2. Also, a formal certification scheme was introduced. 2005, ISO 20000 was first published. Two parts, ISO IEC 20000-1 and ISO IEC 20000-2. It is based almost entirely on the first standard, which was the BS 15000. 2011 updated the ISO IEC 20000-1 2011, and in 2012 it updated again to the ISO IEC 20000-2 2012. Cost of certification. The costs vary depending on if the certification is looking to be certified or if you're looking to get individually certified. Organizational costs vary depending on the cost associated to bring the organization up to the standard of ISO 20000. Organizational certifications must be carried out by an external certifier from the registered certified body, which is a group of people that have received auditor organizational certifications. Individual cost for certification varies from as little as $84.50 to $159. If you have your ITIL certification, then the price is $84.50, and without your ITIL certification, the price jumps to $159. The exam itself consists of 50 multiple choice questions to be answered in 60 minutes. Candidates need only to get 50% or higher to pass and to be considered certified. How long does the ISO 20000 certification last? Once the certification is awarded, it will be valid for an initial period of 3 years. This means that regular recertification audits and intermediate ISO 20000 assessments are required, so there's ongoing costs to be considered if your organization wishes to join the ISO 20000 certification community. General requirements of ISO 20000. ISO 20000 promotes the adoption of integrated processes approach to effectively deliver managed services to meet the business and customer requirements. ISO 20000 does not prescribe that its requirement must be met by following the ITIL recommendations, so there are many possible ways to achieve compliance. Introducing ITIL, however, is the most widely used approach for obtaining an ISO 20000 certification for your organization. It is also important to prove that IT processes are documented, actively managed, and continually improved. This brings us to having certified individuals who actually understand the ins and outs of ISO 20000. The following is a short video explaining the whole ITIL processes and how vending companies actually provide services to bring a company up to those standards.
Are you hungry for better service and value from your enterprise IT? Well, imagine having dinner at a restaurant run by grocery store managers. The baker brings out the souffle first, when it's done, and the dinner rolls last. Produce delivers your baked potato while your steak is still raw. And is the cold macaroni and cheese a dairy problem or a dry goods issue? They provide everything in a meal, but it's not the service you paid for. IT departments frequently operate like this. They use the old IT by technologies model. Desktops, servers, networks, like grocers with ingredients. They budget tech, think tech, and they talk tech. They're managing technology ingredients while business needs information services that deliver business value. There's a framework called ITIL that addresses this problem, lowering IT costs and improving service. It's globally accepted as the blueprint for IT to deliver business value. ITIL redefines IT to deliver information services. This video explains the 5 key service cycles in ITIL by comparing them to service cycles in a restaurant chain. Creating a great restaurant chain is tough. The key business decisions that attract repeat diners, like atmosphere, cuisine, and price, are usually made by the restaurant chain headquarters. They call it restaurant theming. The innermost ITIL cycle, service strategy, is like theming. It provides processes that bring the enterprise and IT together to make the business cases and set the business goals that define what IT will do. When the theme is defined, the menu has to be designed. That's the chef's job. She has to balance ingredients, production, costs, and suppliers, so every location delivers great, consistent meals. ITIL calls this service design, defining information services that meet business case requirements while balancing overall enterprise needs. With a chain menu defined, the kitchens don't just cook up all the recipes. They practice, prep, and document, so dishes can be delivered reliably as diners are ready. ITIL calls this service transition, where IT plans releases of services and changes into the enterprise for maximum business benefit. Waiters naturally focus on delivery. They know what each diner wants, what the kitchen should start next, and they own overall customer satisfaction. In ITIL, this is service operation, where IT resources, like the service desk, take ownership of delivering the information services the business is consuming and of any problems with those services. And just as every great restaurant has a maitre d' coordinating activities and keeping up the standards of the place, ITIL has a continual service improvement cycle to constantly measure and improve the business contribution of IT. ITIL goes beyond chain operation to global standards. ITIL-enabled organizations can move resources across the enterprise or source IT operations from vendors, like borrowing staff from a sister restaurant to handle a party. The processes, language, and measures are common. You can't run a great restaurant chain or great IT on a grocery store model, but you can deliver strategic business value with information services using an ITIL blueprint tuned to the needs of your business. CompuCom has been helping IT departments make the move to ITIL for more than 10 years. We can help you migrate quickly and safely to ITIL. Whether you source some or even all of your IT operation, ITIL-based IT service is what we do. We support over 3.5 million desktops, network devices, and servers for our clients. Hungry for strategic return on your IT? Let CompuCom share the stories of 4-star IT service based on ITIL.
Comparison between ITIL and ISO 20000. One reason for creating ITIL version 3 was to achieve a better alignment with the ISO 20000 standard. The principle of continual improvement has found its way into the ITIL books, and the process of ITIL version 3 2007 ITIL 2011 and the ISO 20000 are very much in line. For example, there is an information security management process in ITIL version 3 as required by ISO 20000. As a result, ITIL offers a broad range of best practice recommendations which are a perfect basis for developing ISO 20000 compliant processes for your organization. The implementation of ITIL is the best available route towards ISO 20000 certification. The following video is a short introduction to ISO IEC 20000.
Hi, today I'd like to give you a short introduction to the ISO 20000 standard, courtesy of ISO20000templates.com. ISO 20000 is the international standard for IT service management. It came out in 2005 and has recently been refreshed in 2011. It's a standard which has a set of requirements which are documented in Part 1 of the standard. Together with parts 2, 3, 4 and 5, they give further information about exactly how the standard should be interpreted. In many ways you could say that ISO 20000 is an implementation for IT of the ISO 9001 quality standard, in that it incorporates a lot of the different aspects which are common amongst the quality standards that are around at the moment. So the general idea is that there is a service management system which incorporates all of the things that you need to do to make sure that your processes are in place and that everything is continually improved. Sitting underneath that, you then have the familiar ITIL-based service management processes such as service level management, incident management, problem management, etc., which then form the basis of an overall framework for delivering IT services based on requirements. Now, requirements is a very important part of the standard. You have to be able to show that you have collected requirements and that the services that you're offering deliver the results that the requirements expect. So how does ISO 20000 relate to ITIL version 3? Well, it makes use of a lot of the detailed guidance that is in ITIL version 3 and sits on top of that kind of framework. So the idea is that ISO 20000 is almost an auditable subset of ITIL version 3, and a lot of work has been done with a new version of ISO 20000 in 2011 to align it more closely with ITIL version 3. So the general idea is that you have your procedures at the bottom level, you then have the ITIL framework, whether that's version 2 or version 3, sitting on top of that, and then above that you then have the code of practice and the ISO 20000 requirements that sit on top of that as an auditable part. So someone can come in externally, whether they're from the BSI, LRQA, etc., and they can take a view based on what it says in the standard in part 1 as to whether you're doing IT service management effectively. And if you are, then you can get certification, which means not only do you get a certificate on the wall, but also you can tell your customers that an external body has come in and verified the quality of the services and the framework that you're delivering those services through. The standard has been out since 2005. There are over 600 organisations that are now certified to the standard worldwide. It is gathering pace, so certainly we're seeing a lot more inquiries about achieving certification, but it's not something that you necessarily have to achieve certification to. It's also a very good guidebook for how to introduce more effective service management processes into your organisation. So you don't have to get too hung up with certification itself. It's really a means to an end. You can get a lot of the benefits from simply implementing what it says in ISO 20000 and then using ITIL kind of as a backup to that to give you more detail. But if you did want to get certified to ISO 20000, then how would you go about it? Well, there are basically two stages. Stage one is an initial visit by the auditor. So once you've chosen your external auditor, they will come in and see how your service management system is performing at the moment. Once they've done that visit, and they'll give you some very good feedback about things you need to change, additional processes perhaps you need to introduce, they will then come back for the stage two when you're ready, which is the actual certification audit. And at this point, they'll spend some time going to the detail not only of your documentation, but also of the records that you're following the processes that you have documented. So they'll look at your help desk, they'll look at the way that the services are delivered, as well as looking at documentation, interviewing staff, etc. So if you're successful with the stage two audit, you are then certified to ISO 20000, and there are then surveillance audits once a year, leading to every 3 years the full audit is again done for recertification. So to sum up this very brief presentation, ISO 20000 is an auditable standard which sits on top of the ITIL framework, or really any other framework that you want to use, and represents something that an external auditor can come in to certify you against. It's effectively proof to your customers, to your stakeholders internally, and if anything to yourselves, that the service management processes you've got in place are effective and are implemented in the right way.
One organization that's actually certified in Florida for the ISO 20000 certification is the Florida Department of Revenue. The Florida Department of Revenue is a certified organization under the APMI Group ISO IEC 2000-2005 certification scheme. The certification was issued on June 4, 2012 by DQSUL Incorporated, which is one of the registered certification bodies for the ISO 20000. The scope of their certification includes the IT service management system that supports the provision of system for unified taxation and child management automated management systems, business services to the General Tax Administration, and child support enforcement. Revenue-supported IT services are IT directory services, network services, storage services, hosted services, remote access services, backup and recovery services, telecommunication services, and IT security services. Their location is actually in Tallahassee, Florida. Before I wrap this thing up, I would like to leave you with our group findings. Unless you're a certification jockey who's looking to have every certification known to the IT service management line or just IT in general, then the ISO 20000 may not open many doors for you. In the world, there's only 706 organizations that are actually certified for ISO 20000. Even though it is growing, there are only 65 organizations in the US that are actually ISO 20000 certified. Individual certifications vary, but if you're hoping to have the certification to open a lot of doors, don't expect it to open very many. I would focus more on the ITIL certifications, or you're just plain IT certifications such as A+, Network+, and Security+. These open many doors for many individuals and allows people to actually focus on what is important to the IT community, which is providing technical support and providing quality knowledge management systems. We'd like to thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please answer them right after the reference page rolls. Thank you, and have a good day.